Theodor Ludwig Goerlitz was a presumably Austrian writer and journalist of whom I know next to nothing. He was born in 1908, and in 1938, after the Nazi Anschluss of Austria, he took over the Saturn publishing company run by his colleague Friedrich Ungar when he left for the US. He died in 1943. We will cover his 1933 Schaum und Spiegel, or Foam and Mirrors. Sylvester concerns Prevost the student pawning his last earthly possessions in exchange for a revolver, waiting to shoot himself in public during the New Year festivities. He keeps running into his female neighbour who also wants to kill herself, stops her, and they decide to sell his revolver to have food for the next 8 days. Alchemy concerns Accountant Torn, who gets bored of his heavy-set wife and boring life, being visited by men who offer their alchemic wares from door to door, before he breaks everything in his home and gets arrested by the self-same men for robbing his own bank. The late return of Kaspar Kalt has 165-year-old Kaspar Kalt as an exhibit in a travelling circus. He wants the ringmaster to release him so he can die, and he refuses, but tells the old man he can have the gypsy woman Lu. Kaspar later finds Lu sitting in his wagon and tells him her mother the witch prophesied Lu would die tonight. Kaspar says he will die instead, but after he tells her how he became immortal after he strangled a circus dancer to death out of jealousy, she refuses to absolve him. Then the devil takes her soul after her death, and Kaspar turns into a sparrow to pursue him forever. Herr Douglas's Nap, the best story in the book, concerns a certain Mr. Douglas being pursued by a shadowy presence through his house at night, and then boarding a train that always goes south, is a giant circle without beginning or end, almost never stops, and the only people on board beside him are people from his past he betrayed or abandoned. The black coat of Sylvia Blanche has the model Sylvia Blanche receive an expensive coat and portrait of herself from the painter Charles Granet, whom she refused as a lover and who shot himself to death in Meldon Park. She wears the dead man's coat and goes from lover to lover, until one night she gets so drunk she leaves the Romanian ambassador and is confronted by the dead man in her room, before she is found naked the following morning sitting in front of a portrait after she cut out its eyes. Foam and Mirrors has Frau von Stolp, really a felonious servant girl selling fake Rembrandts on the side, try to win over the heart of a duke who turns out to be a fake and is dragged away to prison in front of her. Damascus concerns Giuseppe, who went blind overnight, talked to Amélie, his beloved, of Marie, the woman he loved and who died 10 years ago, a day before he came to live with her. The White Temple has a Herr von Marais blather on about how much he loved a woman, and then made himself forget her despite still loving her, to prove to himself he wasn't dependent on her. Then a different young woman enters the pub, he sees her and dies. What follows is the Metaphysical Diary, which is just a bunch of unrelated impressions the writer had while staying in Paris, going on about eternal bliss, Adam and Eve, the Greeks and the Latin Quarter.